All right, John, what is on the rundown for Buy, Sell, Hold this morning?
Buy, sell, or hold. The Eisenhower Library is a must for Kansas day trippers.
Ooh, that's good. Buy.
Yeah.
Buy. I'm so glad I got to go yesterday, especially with it being the 80th anniversary of D-Day and the show that we did. And if you missed any of it, it's up on the podcast. Just search KCMO, search Mundo in the Morning, wherever you get your podcasts. But it really is worth your time. You know, I'm not like Mr. Museum guy. It's never been my thing. But it's the perfect museum in the sense that you will learn a lot, and it's not going to take you 3 hours to do it. I mean, I guess you can spend as much time as you want in a museum. But they got, 3 or 4 video boards, 5 to 7 minutes each. A lot of great, things and boards to read and learn. But it keeps moving. And it's a great town, great trip, well worth your time if you're looking for something to do, John.
You make a great point because I kind of like museums and I like old stuff. Went to Wamego for the Wizard of Oz thing and they got a cool little deal there. But to your point, it is entertaining if you're not into the museum stuff.
Yes.
And yet at the same time, it's not like dumbed down and it's just a couple of posters.
No, exactly.
Right,
it is
so
the perfect balance.
It is indeed.
For like the diehard museum guy, but also the person who's like, oh, that's interesting. I learned something new. And, the movies are always a good help with the 5 to 7 minute videos they put together. So they did and there's a good Cold War section of the museum as well that obviously ties into Eisenhower, but also gets into, obviously the post-Eisenhower years and the Cold War and obviously how that went down in the decades to come. So it was very well done. Great town, and there's a lot of stuff that people can be doing there and checking out and being a part of. So make sure you do that. If you're looking for something to do, make the trip out. And then go to, where's the place I went to lunch? Snuffy's. Is it Snuffy's? Let me pull it up here. Come on. How many damn photos did I take yesterday? Jeez.
Well, I asked you to take some since I hadn't been there since 74, so thank you. I may be the cause of that, though,
yeah, Snuffy's. I had it right. I had it right.
Sure.
Okay. All right. So head on there for lunch. All right. What's next, John?
Okay. Buy, sell, or hold. The Chiefs moving to Kansas will be beneficial for the state.
No, sell. I put this up on X last hour, and it's gotten a ton of reaction. And I'm just going to share it with you here. But this is what needs to be said. Kansans who want to steal, air quotes, the Chiefs are fools. Right now, you have an incredible deal. You pay only 3/8 of a cent sales tax when you do business in Jackson County. And how much of that you do is up to you. It's your choice. You assume zero risk. You get all the perks of being in the Kansas City region in what is now the new title town. Most people around the country don't know and don't care whether the Chiefs play in Missouri or Kansas. It's meaningless. No one cares that the Jets and the Giants play in New Jersey. And by the way, when those teams are on in prime time, they don't show the skyline of East Rutherford. What are you gaining? Pride? Ego? It's all meaningless for the average fan. Politicians, by way of their donors and lobbyists, see potential business and financial benefits. That does nothing for average Joe fan. But if you want to be a pawn in their game, I guess that's your right. And by the way, big promises for economic development around the stadium. Have you been to Arrowhead lately? Have you driven around the neighborhoods? Open your eyes and use your brain. It's not going to be worth it. And pitting one state against the other to the tune of benefiting billionaire sports operations is not good for the region at large.
I feel like the one perk that Jackson Countyans had becomes less useful each year, that perk of being able to first ones to buy tickets for things.
Yeah.
Right, for an hour.
Yeah.
But the resale market, the way it has exploded in the last 10, 15 years, if you want to go, you can go.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Dynamic pricing is going to adjust ticket prices, too, to where the Raiders game is going to be more than, Panthers game. That kind of stuff. So I think that perk's even not has faded.
No, it's not what it used to be.
Yeah.
That's for sure. I mean, if Wyandotte County residents are like, oh, yeah, now we're going to have first dibs on tickets, you're still going to be priced out of a lot of them, by the way.
Yep.
I promise you that's going to happen. So, no, that perk is not what it used to be.
Not at all.
And I'm just not seeing it right now. I don't understand it. But, hey, if you're going to be running for office or you're in Topeka in office, then I get it. The lobbyists are banging down your doors. But if you think about that being in favor of the average fan, it rarely ever is.
Not so much. Buy, sell, or hold, Joe Biden will be the nominee in 2024.
Well, man, I'm going to buy it. Hesitantly, I'm going to buy it. But Bill O'Reilly brought up a good point this morning. He does our morning commentary at 7:15 here on KCMO. He said that if Joe Biden bombs out in this debate that's happening 3 weeks from yesterday, that may be the final nail in the coffin of the Biden reelection bid. I mean, we saw him yesterday, and I'm not saying this to be mean, but he just looked awful. He looked old. He looked feeble. He was turning around randomly during taps. He was, trying to sit down and couldn't find his chair. He's fumbling with his hands, looking for his chair behind him. He looked like a toddler who was soiling himself. I mean, it wasn't a good look. And if this guy gets on the debate stage in 3 weeks and totally bombs out, and they better juice him up good for him not to bomb out, you going to do that for the next 4.5 months if you're the Democratic Party? So I will buy it just because, the odds are he's still going to be the nominee. But, man, I think Bill O'Reilly's onto something. And he said, watch for Gretchen Whitmer, the governor of Michigan. Joe has to win Michigan to get reelected. I mean, without that, he's got to pull an inside straight. So he said, keep an eye on Gretchen Whitmer, which is very interesting. So I will buy it, but I'm not buying that one with a lot of confidence.